Hello everyone, and welcome to this video in which I'm going to provide an overview of MVT. Now this is week 3 of our program in New Breed Agent Academy, and so you're probably wondering what MVT means. Well, very simply, this is a concept that I came up with called minimum viable technology. Now, what our program does is we teach real estate agents how they can engineer their business the way that it should be. Simple, user-friendly, minimal, and essential. And when it comes to utilizing today's technology, you really have to have a clear picture about what you need, what is actually useful, and ultimately what's providing the most value for your clients. So MVT, minimum viable technology, this is actually where the majority of real estate agents get lost because they're told that they need this CRM, they need this software, they need this tool, they need this thing, they need, so many different things, right? And so what this does is this creates complexity. Now, growing a business is hard enough. There's a ton of complexity inside of a business, inside of, accounting, sales, customer support, service delivery, taxes, growing your business, getting things online, adapting, innovating, right? And so when it comes to our technology, we want to make sure that we keep things as simple as possible. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you the principles that we utilize to teach real estate agents how to design their business and how they should really look at the technology inside of their business. So with that being said, let's start with the essential. So when it comes to adding anything into your business, whether it's technology or, something outside of technology, if you're not making sure that what you're buying, what you're adding into your business is essential, then over time, this stuff starts to creep up on you. This starts to creep up, create complexity, and ultimately create confusion over the long period of time. And so if you design things well, you're going to find that really you don't need that much stuff. And so in our program, New Breed Agent Academy, really the Polaris star of the program is that real estate agents are systematically turning paid advertisements or content or any of the new breed methodologies for acquiring clients into profitable new paying clients. And so when it comes to the essential, we really have to clear the space so that we can see again. If you can't really navigate to your contacts, if you don't know where your past leads are stored, if they're in your phone, if they're in your, Google Sheet, if they're in a CRM, if you don't really know what's going on, then if you try to scale, if you try to add more to that, you're just going to add more confusion. So when it comes to the essential, really, you don't need that many things. You only really need a few softwares. You only really need to stay organized. I talk to people and real estate agents all the time, and they're spending so much time CRMing. They're spending so much time trying to figure out how to actually use the tool versus using the tool. The goal is not to spend a ton of time exerting energy trying to figure out how to do things. The goal is to keep it simple. What's more simple than, a piece of paper and a pen, right? And so when you start to add all these planners and all these softwares and productivity tools, you end up spending more time trying to manage that stuff than actually keeping what is essential. And so this is one of the guiding principles that we go through in the program. And, within the program, we teach you how to actually design this stuff, what these softwares look like, and really all that you really need to be successful as an agent. Because with this new push of technology and ads and the internet, a lot of people have gotten lost and bought into a lot of hype, bought into a ton of marketing, and so they've added a ton of complexity. And so that brings us into the next point, which is keeping it simple. Everything should always be simple, and there's people that are ready for our program. They want to invest. They feel like it's the right decision. And then sometimes there's people that, I can just tell they're not really in the space to not only invest in the program, but just do what it's going to take to actually implement it successfully. And so, a lot of them that maybe they don't even have their first client or anything like that, and they want to run all these ads and do all these things that we teach how to do. And I say, you should just talk to people you already know. You need to get that first sale under your belt. You need to maximize your current resources that you have and not just try to do all this marketing. Because I know for me, obviously I have this program and this is what we do, but ultimately it's about making sure that, the clients we take on are clients that can get results. And part of that sometimes means that, we lose sales because we point people back to the simplicity. So when you're adding softwares, when you're adding any sort of tool or really anything in your business, is this taking me closer to simplicity? Or is this making things more simple? Or am I actually making things more complex? And you have to be able to discern between simplicity and potential complexity in the short term and not give up too early. Because sometimes to do things simply over the long term, you have to do and implement some complexity and deal with that complexity up front. If you try to just do, sometimes things may look super simple, like this, because sometimes when people buy things that are really cheap or really inexpensive, they think it's simple because they don't spend a bunch of money, but then really that solution just gives them a bunch of more problems, right? So when it comes to the simplicity aspect, you have to be aware that, okay, if I do decide to commit to this software or I do decide to commit to this type of a system, it may be a little bit complex up front, but ultimately, what it's going to lead me to is something more simple over the long term, right? It's not simple to not have a system for leads. It's not simple to wonder where your next deal is coming from. It's not simple to, not have a system for managing inbound leads and distributing them to your team, right? It's not simple to just get a bunch of leads and chase them down, right? So in our program, we teach you something that, it takes more time. You have to do it really well, but ultimately it leads you towards the holistic solution, the ultimate end goal, which is simplicity. So that's why you'll see a lot of marketing agencies and companies that are out there that give you templates, that give you things that are just copy and paste, but they don't really work long term. And so in the short term, it's too simple, and in the long term, because it's not designed well, it just creates complexity over the long term, and most people give up. So that's guiding principle number 2. The third is easy to use. Everything should be pretty intuitive when it comes to software, when it comes to your CRM, when it comes to, really even your computer. Everything needs to be easy to use. You shouldn't be spending a bunch of time trying to figure out, how do you even use it? And, I've tested literally, you name it, what software or CRM in real estate. I've tested Boomtown, I've tested KV Core, and Salesforce, Follow Up Boss. I could literally go on and on. I've tested Realty Juggler. There's one called Sierra Interactive. On and on and on. Agent Fire. I've spent, and when I say tested, it's not like I signed up and looked around. I've spent thousands of hours in KV Core and Salesforce and Boomtown collectively. All of those softwares I've had to work with, manage, and figure out how to use. And so, a lot of them, because this is a big thing, is how do I stay organized? And ultimately, the goal is how do you scale the organization? How do you scale things so that when you grow them and add more leads, add more, inbound opportunities, that things still stay equally as organized then? And I know it's not perfectly, the same, but the goal is to get it to be where, managing one client here and versus managing, let's say, 10 clients should be, it should stay the same in terms of how things are organized, the process people are going through. And so I've spent a ton of times on these things like Boomtown, KV Core, Salesforce. I've gone inside the MLS, I've done Cloud CMA, I've done Cloud Attract. Any software real estate, I've put time into it. And so what I've seen is just they're not easy to use. Most of them are not easy to use, and they're not intuitive. And so if they're not intuitive and they're not easy to use, then you're going to spend the majority of your time here trying to figure out what the heck is actually going on. So if you're spending that time trying to figure out like what's going on, what do I do, where do I click, you're never going to be able to manage things effectively and actually get the big things done that move the needle. So we got to simplify and make it easy to use. So that's another principle that we have as well. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the second component, which is user friendly, right? Because if things, what I commonly see is that you'll see these different types of softwares, these different types of real estate tools that are out there, they try to do too many things at once. And they have so many different things within one software. And so what this does is it doesn't make it user friendly, because it's nice to think, oh, well, I want a one size fits all, or I want something where everything's in one place. And that's good, but each software, each tool, everything that you use should really have one main core purpose. And so whereas it could be cheaper, it could be technically from the outside appear to be easier to have a CRM where you can do texting, calling, call recording, website, IDX, lead generation. If you have a machine that can do all those, what you're going to find is you're never going to really be able to see like what's going on. You're going to be overwhelmed with all the different things because they overlap, data overlaps, conversations, there's not a clear place for conversations because everything's, you've got tags, you've got emails, you've got all these different things that are confusing you, right? So in week 3 of our program, people think, oh, well, you're the tech guy, you're the, person teaching agents, you all this stuff's easy for you. But really, I could name all the softwares, that I use, and I could tell you their one core purpose that they all have. And yeah, do I spend technically more money than, softwares that could be, doing more than one thing? Yeah, but I've tested, CRMs for my business, and different things need to have and serve different purposes. And so, there's tools that try to do CRMs, calendars, emails, texts, etc., and then you don't really even know, like I said, where things go. And growing a business, scaling the business, keeping up with the trends, innovating, taking care of your clients, there's already enough complexity there. So we got to move and design all this stuff to be as simple as possible, streamline it, make it efficient, so that you're not spending time trying to just see what's going on, okay? So that goes with user friendly. The next component of what we show you how to do is eliminate. So many people have so many apps and so many alerts and notifications and sounds and buzzes and email lists and emails that they own, right? And bookmarks and, literally you name it. There is so much complexity in most people's phone, in most people's computer, in most people's life in general. And so we take you through a very beautiful process of just eliminating things so that you can see the core essence of what you need. And you're going to find that just by eliminating, this is actually going to be better than adding any sort of new software. You can use and leverage the softwares and tools we teach to basically run your whole business, and you don't need all the different things that maybe you're being sold on needing, You don't need all the different tools and trinkets and gadgets that people are telling you to sign up for so that you just add more stuff. You don't need a productivity planner, and because you start getting into all these different variables that take you away from just doing what you have to do. Okay, so we show you how to eliminate all this stuff. Clear the space, clear the desktop, clear the phone, clear the noise, clear the stuff that's just there that you've become accustomed to, that you haven't even realized is actually taking away from your focus, taking away from doing the stuff that's going to really be of value to your clients, be of value to your business, and ultimately just distracting you and keeping you in the minutia and what everyone else is doing. And so even with, people that have bought my program and invested into the program, like, I still have to encourage them to like eliminate more, because, the systems we teach, the tools we teach, they're designed to last, right? There's something called asymmetry, and I'll probably do, a longer, fuller video on it, but asymmetry is basically when inputs are not equivalent to outputs. So when you put energy into something, there's always going to be some sort of output. And, when you put energy into a ton of things that have really low output, you're just busy. Things are just chaotic. You're not really moving the needle. You're not really able to create and do things that, most people like would dream of, like with these videos and content that we're doing. The questions I'm asking myself is how do I become more efficient? How do I make it as automatic as possible for me to do the things that are going to help me accomplish what it is that I'd like to accomplish, right? So when it comes to these videos will literally these videos last forever, right? And it's way more efficient than going into an office. It's way more efficient than chasing people down and trying to convert everybody. There's a select few that's going to find these videos and watch it. And so, I got to eliminate that other noise. I got to choose and kind of decide and commit to how I want to show up. And if you want to master in-person, presentations, you want to master cold calling and manual methods, that's great, right? But the point here that I'm saying is that, when you think about asymmetry, this video is extremely asymmetric. It has the ability to be, right? Because I could do this video once and, it's going to take 20, 30 minutes or whatever, however long the video ends up being. And I can show that to 1 billion people, or I could literally never post it and never do anything with it, right? Or I could go to do a presentation in person and, one person shows up and it's gone forever, right? So I'm not discrediting being in person, but, you should be thinking about how you're approaching your business like way differently, because a lot of the things that agents do and ultimately just the old paradigm is doing is they do things once and then they're gone. They're lost. And so we want to be able to maximize this stuff, have the technology to do so, and leverage it to get the most out of it, get the most out of it. And that brings us to the last point, which is minimal, right? Keep it minimal, keep it simple. Don't try to chase down every single avenue. Don't try to do a live and then do a YouTube and then do a this and do a that if you don't really, number one, have the space to actually do that, or a team, and number two, to follow through and implement it successfully, and three, tie it into a cohesive strategy. If your strategy is just to post on as many channels as you can, and not drive traffic, not understand these things that we teach in our program, then what's going to happen is you just post this stuff, 2 people see it, and then, next Wednesday, next Thursday, you're doing another video, and the same thing happens. Whereas, we teach in our program, how do you do one video? How do you put a lot of energy into that video, make it as best as you possibly can, indoctrinate prospects and take them to a calendar and get that, and systematically drive ads, drive leads, drive new potential prospects into that system so that you can produce phone calls, right? Versus there's people that have spent 10 times more energy on videos and content and no one even sees them and nothing even happens from it, right? And so I'm not discouraging doing video, but I'm teaching and sharing a higher truth, which is that you have to think about asymmetry, and technology is asymmetric if you do it right. And so you could spend, like I said, that hour doing videos and posting with no one seeing it and it never turning into anything. And you could do a video that's maybe not even nearly as good. It's not produced. It doesn't even look good. But you drive traffic to it. You have a system that, is designed to get book calls. And then because of that, you systematically directing energy towards it, you have the ability to actually produce a return. Okay? So when it comes to implementing and utilizing these guiding principles, this is how we encourage our clients. This is how I would encourage you, regardless of if you, invest in the program or not. This is how you should be thinking. How do you think of things that are essential to add in? How do you think of simplicity? What's easy to use so that I'm actually clear about what each tool is for? How do I get things that are actually user-friendly that any one of my team members can understand how to use? And how do I eliminate stuff that's non-essential, that's distracting me, that's, deterring me from actually doing the valuable things that are going to move my business forward, that's going to move, the results I get from my clients forward, and ultimately keep things minimal, keep things simple. And once you have your base, you don't need a ton of more tools. We've complicated this entire thing, and because of not having a clear strategy, a lot of us run astray. We have these super high highs. We're like, wow, everything's going great. I'm on fire. I'm going to close 20 deals this month. And, then before you know it, next month comes around and you have 4 or 5 months with no closings. You're, literally wondering if you should even stay in the business. And, and it's just like that roller coaster, right? So once we design the simplicity and once we design the base, we can really work the fundamentals. And if you master the fundamentals in, this new way of applying real estate, if you master these different tools, you're going to be able to do much more than you could have ever done by just trying to get super advanced, super high level strategies. And if you look at athletes, if you look at anybody in the world that's done anything great, they always talk about focusing on the fundamentals, focusing on sleep, focusing on, drinking water, focusing on eating clean, focusing on, doing the things that are going to move the needle, right? And just mainly doing those things. And how do you get all of the rest of the stuff off of you so that you can just do those activities? So hopefully that provided some value for you. This is, like I said, just, these are the guiding principles that we use within our program in week 3 called Minimum Viable Technology. In the program, we show you how to not only think about your business in this way, we show you how to apply it, we show you what you need, we show you how to remove what you don't need, and ultimately design what you want to create so that things are just automatic for you. So if this is something that you're interested in, there's a button below or a link below that will enable you to book a call in with myself personally. And ultimately this call is just to see if you are interested in, doing things in the new way, because it's not just about me and a program. It's really about you and your commitment to your business and doing things the way that they should be, which is having these 6 guiding principles really govern the way that you run and design your business, right? Do you want things to be essential? Do you want things to be more simple? Do you want to feel like things in your business are easy to use? Do you want to feel like things are user-friendly and that you don't have a lot of clutter, you don't have a lot of noise, and that you really have the minimal viable technology that you need to ultimately provide the most value to your clients and show up in the way that you'd like to show up? So if this is something that you feel called to learn more about, feel free to book in that call. There's a link below. Fill out the survey, select your time, and I'll look forward to talking to you on the call. Have an amazing day, and I hope this has provided you value. Bye-bye.